Morning, Fiona. How you going? How's your week been? I know you've said it in all of your check-in, but it's good to get another idea, video to video. Now, hope your week's been good. How was your anniversary dinner? Looks like you guys had fun on Saturday night. Okay, so looking at your check-in, I did see that you noted down that you had your mood was deteriorating, that your sleep was less than adequate, and as a result, your energy is lacking, and you're also starting to hate the plan. So obviously that's sort of few red flags for me. It doesn't sound like towards the end of the week you weren't really enjoying it. I can see that there's multiple factors that have kind of caused this, and we might just address a few of those. Now, the biggest one being your lower back in your deadlift session, so day 3. So looks like you've hurt yourself, and it looks like you've gone really hard in the first few days leading up to your wedding anniversary dinner, and it's kind of just flipped itself and you've hurt yourself. And it seems to be a big factor for all your mood, your energy, your sleep especially. So we might just assess that first. Now, what I would like you to do is see your physio first as soon as possible, if that's all right. We want to get a verdict from them. I want them to see what's going on with your back, how long the recovery is. I'm sure they'll give you exercises and things that you can and cannot do. If you could do that as soon as possible for me, that'd be great. And I would also either like your physio to contact me personally, or if you could please get them to write a recommendation for me, say what you are cleared to do, whether you are allowed to do weights or you're not, or what exercises that includes. Basically, I want to know what you are and are not allowed to do, because we don't want to anger your back anymore. And so I would like a clearance from your physio, if that's all right. In the meantime, that does mean that this week coming, I am going to cut your weight session. So I don't want you doing any of your weight sessions this week. I can hear alarm bells going off in your head. Me cutting your weights for a week is not going to affect you that much. Look, you get a week's rest. We're going to rest your back. And please don't freak out about this. It doesn't mean that in this week you are going to put on 10 kilos of fat. You probably won't even put on fat at all. So as long as we follow the rest of our plan. So what the week is going to include is that we will get you off your weights. I also, unless the physio says otherwise, but for now with this check-in, I would say that we don't want you running as well. So your steps, look, hit the minimum 10,000. This is going to depend on you and your back. I don't want you pushing yourself to the point where it's painful or anything. As long as you are okay to do your NEAT exercise, so your very steady state, slow walking is all I really want. If you can get 10,000 steps, great. If you can get 15,000 steps and there's no pain in your back, even better. And as long as you're getting those steps this week, your diet is set up for a deficit. So you're already in a 20% deficit on your low days. So basically what that means is that regardless of you doing your weight program or not, if you're hitting your steps and you're hitting the calorie targets that we have set, you're still going to be in a deficit, so you shouldn't be putting on fat. So hopefully that can put your mind at ease with this week and having a little bit of a rest, and you might well need it. And we might see that once your back's fixed, and if you're just following this nice little rest week, you actually still could lose weight. Your mood should hopefully increase. Hopefully your hunger levels will decrease. So I did see that you did cut down your calories leading up to your wedding anniversary dinner in a bid to try and, I guess, even it out. Look, I'd kind of you've done it now, and that's fine. I completely understand where you're coming from, but we might actually just, I want you to stay at the calories we have set. It has been set at 20% deficit. So I would much rather you hit your calories every day, have your dinner out on Saturday night that you had planned. You have a high day set out anyway. Even if you went over the calories on your high day, it's fine. It's not going to break the bank. It's one day. So that would have all been okay, and we would have just brought it back. You would have seen your weight level out a few days later. It would have just been a bit of a glycogen increase. But instead, I think you've gone a little bit too hard out, where you've cut your calories, you've increased your output, you've gone running, you've done a lot more than what we've had set out, and it's kind of hurt your back, and in the same time it's affected your mood, it's affected your hunger levels, because now you're hungry because you're starving yourself. And I think if you just stick to your calories, then that's going to decrease your appetite levels, so you're not going to be hungry. If you're always fed and you're feeling good, that means your mood might increase, and so with your energy levels. So this week, please try and hit those calories. I know it's going to be hard because you're not training, but we would like to see that. And then hopefully your appetite's going to be good, your mood might increase a little bit, and as we fix those little things, eventually everything will start working together, and your sleep's going to be great. Your stress levels hopefully might go down a little bit, especially as your back gets better. And we'll see some results from there. Now, also, I will tell you reasons, just in case you do want to know reasons why I am cutting your weights, is because one, things could aggravate your back even more. So basically, if even with your upper body weights, you might want to try them, but we don't want to do that, just because even with your upper body weights, you're still needing to brace your core to protect your back. You need to brace yourself properly, and if you're not doing if you're pushing your weights and not having the right posture in your back, then you also could affect your back a little bit more as well. So that's the reason why I'm cutting weights completely. Your check-ins, your question check-ins. So for number one, where should I cut calories down this week? I think I've already answered this, but no, please don't. You're still in a deficit, so you don't need to cut it anymore. Adding in some extra cardio if you're not lifting. I'm really apprehensive about doing more running, because that still affects your back, especially if you're running on hard ground. That impact actually goes up from your feet all the way up to the top of your body. So that's still affecting your back, and I think you should just have a rest your back, see what the physio says. You can ask him this question as well, him or her, that question. And just see what they say. But for now, my recommendation is no, I do not want you doing extra cardio in the sense of I want you running or jumping or anything that's going to affect your back, as far as my understanding goes. We have talked about steps, so I'm very, very happy for you to hit above and beyond 10,000 steps, as long as your back is not hurting, and I cannot stress that enough. Going to number 3, so about faster cardio burns more fat. That's not exactly true. So whether you eat breakfast or not, or have faster cardio or not, it doesn't actually have, it has minimal to zero effect on how much fat you burn if you've eaten or if you haven't. So that was a bit of clickbait, I think you saw this morning, but I'll send you through the link of the article that I have read that has shown that there's no differences whether you do your cardio fasted or not. I'll send that through to you. You can have a read and just see for yourself the science behind it all. And for 4, with the infrared saunas, look, I don't believe in it. Saunas are there to make you sweat. You will sweat out water. You're just going to sweat out all your salts and the water that you've got in your body, and that's going to result in a bit of a weight loss, but it's a water weight loss. So it doesn't help with stubborn fat. What helps with stubborn fat is being in a calorie deficit, and that is the main underlying point here. So your diet is a 20% deficit, so it's quite a significant deficit, and that is what's going to help you lose fat. Saunas are just sweating out water weight. So I wouldn't suggest that if you want to do a sauna because you enjoy being in a sauna, that's great. But what I want you to do after and before is keep well hydrated, because basically what saunas do is dehydrate you. So even if you just wanted to do it out of fun, please just drink plenty of water beforehand and after, because we don't want you dehydrated. One of the final things we'll probably address in your check-in today is the RPE scale. So I have looked at your sessions and I have seen that your RPEs are varying quite a lot. So basically, what I think I sent it through earlier, but I might send it through again. So the whole point of this RPE scale, when me setting that, is for you to assess what weights are good for you under doing the technique correctly will get you to this RPE scale. Now, to think of it in simple terms, say I'm setting a RPE 8, that means you should have the weight at something. So say you're squatting maybe 20 kilos for 8 reps. Basically, if 20 kilos, you can do 8 reps out, and then you've got 2 to 4 more reps in the bank. So you think, yep, I've done this all very well with good technique. 20 is feeling good. I'm still feeling it, but I can smash out 4 more reps. That's great. That's probably around the RPE 8, maybe a little bit of 7. But basically, the RPE scale is saying how much you've got left in the bank. So if I put the RPE scale at 10, that means you would put a weight on where you can get 6 reps out, and you're really, really grinding to get that last rep out. It's incredibly difficult to get that, well, not incredibly difficult, but it's difficult to get that 6 rep or that last rep out, and you're really pushing your limits. So that would be an RPE 10. If I said I wanted an RPE 1, basically means you could do 50 of the same reps. So me setting most of your RPE scales at 7 to 9 basically means that at 9 you could probably only push out 1 or 2, maximum 2 more reps. And then the 8 would be about 3, maybe 4 reps that you finish your 8 reps that I've set out. And you think, yeah, this is difficult, but I definitely could push myself to do 3 more reps. That's great. That would probably be an RPE 8. The scale that we are prescribing to say you pick a weight that will get you through the rep range I've set, and basically how many left you have in the tank. So if I'm setting at something at RPE 7, that means in the coming weeks we might progress, and I might set at RPE 8, and it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get up to that. So the whole idea is that you're not pushing it to a point where you're RPE 10 when I don't want you to be. So with a lot of, I will write this in an email, but with a few of your exercises that you've put specifically your compound movements, so your squats and your benches, I've seen that it's kind of going RPE 8, then RPE 9, and then you've set the weight back down. So what I'd prefer is that the weights don't get pushed back down by your third set. I would be more happy with you doing, say, a bench at 20 kilos, and that's and it's pretty easy. It's an RPE 7 for you, and you're hitting 15 reps because we've got the rep range from 12 to 15. So I would prefer for you to get full amount of reps, and it's an RPE 7, and then maybe the next set you do that same weight, but then it's starting to get a little bit harder, and maybe you get 13 reps, and then by the third set maybe you only get 12, and then by the fourth maybe you're only at 8, and that means you've gone from the top end of my rep range scale down to the bottom, but you've still kept that same weight, and that's great because that's still progressive overload. It's still keeping the weights instead of going from 40 kilos where it's an RPE 9 down to 20, and it's just kind of messing you up a little bit. So the idea is that we want to progressively overload your weights, which means I rather you knock out your first set and it be the maximum amount of reps I've set, and then as you fatigue throughout these sets that you might not be able to get the maximum amount out, and you might only get the minimum. Either way, it means you're staying with the same weight, and then we'll progress, and then maybe the next week you'll get 15 reps, 14, 13. And then the next week you'll get 15, 15, 15, then 10. So the idea is that even if you're not doing more weight, it means that you're still doing more reps, which means you're getting a larger volume overall over the next few weeks. So with the RPE, I'm going to send you an email. I'll send you the exercises that I'd like, and I might just set the weights down a little bit, or I might set the weights this week for you for a few of your exercises, and just see how you go from there, and see with the RPE scales, I want you to write in the comments section about how hard and how many reps you reckon you could push out after you've done your amount. If you think you can push out 10 and you're like, yep, I've got 3 left in me, that's great. I'll tell you what kind of RPE scale that is, and maybe we can go working on your scale a little bit better from there. Other than that, I think that is most of your check-in done. I'm very happy to see that you're grateful for your husband and your date nights, and you did write being injury-free, and hopefully you will be injury-free in the coming weeks with your physio. Otherwise, that's me for today. Sorry, it's a bit of a long video today, but please remember to give me your physio clearance. I hope you have a great week. Please don't be afraid to email me, or you can message me, or any way you want to see how you're going, how the physio's going. If the RPE thing makes sense, if it doesn't, just let me know. We'll just work through it a little bit more easier, or break it down a little bit more, and maybe just send me through some more videos of your lifts. Right, bye Fiona.